Hi, and welcome back to That's So Nova. I'm sorry, I was like checking my messy, but it's just gonna be messy. I have curly hair and it's crazy. So welcome to That's So Nova, and I'm Nova. And today I is the first part of like a small series I'm gonna do about interfacing. Disclaimer: I'm not the know all and be all of interfacing, but I do get a lot of questions whenever I post a bag in Facebook or Instagram about what I use, what stabilizer I use, what sewing machine, what interfacing. So I wanted to do a brief one. I did a really big interfacing video in the swoon group underneath the event section, so in case you're wondering. And I wanted to basically tap on that, but I want to do small sections so that way you have something to reference if you have a question. So with that being said, everything here I purchased and it wasn't given to me, and I these are just my personal opinions, and we'll just go from there. And I will link everywhere you can get these different stabilizers, and you can see what's works for you and what's more cost effective. Okay, so I want to start with the unconventional first, because I feel like they always get last, and they're not. They're actually the most brilliant and most cost effective. So when I first started bag making, I stumbled upon this book called The Bag Bible by Lisa Lamb. Lisa Lamb has some classes on craftsy, and her bags are very unique. I don't see them on Facebook as much, but if you look up Lisa Lamb and look at her books and patterns, and she has a shop where she sells interfacing stabilizers and whatnot, it's really quite brilliant. In one of her books, she uses this mesh netting that it's for when you're doing crocheting or children's art. It's really cheap. You usually get like 12 of these for like $1 or $2 at Joann's or Michael's. And it's perfect to put purse beads through because there are little squares inside of this and it won't shift or move. And it gives the bag some structure with flexibility. It's amazing because, again, this is really cheap, something you would never think about using, but it won't stain or hurt your bag, and you can shape it with scissors to have round corners so it doesn't poke out your bag. It's actually quite brilliant. Another person I'm going to reference for unconventional and cheap thing is Mrs. H. Masterclass Books has a really in-depth about solid bases. It's on page 50 with techniques. She uses Dollar Tree mats. This is genius. Let me turn off my phone because it keeps beeping. That's not cool. Here we go. It's off now. Fully yours. Chopping mats that you can get at the Dollar Tree or you can see at your local grocery store. Or this is genius. You can usually get 2 to 3 base bottoms depending on how big or large on this, and they're $1. You poke holes in this, there's a flexibility, yet then there's stabilization for bag bottoms. Mrs. H also has this in her testing group. She believes in foam boards. These foam boards you get at Joann's, Michael's. They're usually where the kids section is for like when they do presentations at school. These are great to add at the end of the bag when you just slip it in before you close up the lining, and or if you want to create a false bottom. A false bottom is a piece of the board with fabric over it, and you can place it into the bag at any time or take it out so you can have something slouchy. I learned about false bottoms from Sarah Lawson, So Sweetness. I will put her YouTube channel in that particular episode in the links down below, so that could be something that could be explored with you. So let me move this. Another person that I learned about bag bottoms from is Debbie Shore. I love her backpacks. Like, she has a book series for each kind of different kind of bags. She has a backpack one that's super cute for kids. She's a very good teacher. I believe I learned about Kraft Tex from her. Kraft Tex you will see a lot in our group. Some people use that as stabilizer. I know Maggie55 uses a lot in her stabilizers. Some people use it as materials because it's like if leather and paper had a baby. I know it sounds just really weird. It's super hard to rip. You can sew through it and it can get wet and it'll still be functional. That's why it makes a really good bag bottom. I see one time when I was trying to make a bag bottom, I used cardboard. And even though that sounds brilliant, because like we all get a million Amazon boxes, if that cardboard has ink in it, like it's not a natural brown or was recycled, if water or something gets into the bag, that dye can uplift from the box and destroy the bottom of your bag or spread it even more. So do not do that. Learn from my mistakes. Craftex is a great one. An oldie but goodie. If you go to a leather shop like Tandy Leather, Springfield, Frog Jelly, or you can get this on Amazon too. They have um, bag stiffener. Bag stiffener, you'll get a roll about 46 by 56 for like 20 bucks. Sometimes if Tandy Leather's having a sale, it'll be $12. And you put this at the end of it, your bag, it gives it a really professional finish. Jacqueline from Clutches and Couture and Clutches uses it in all of her bags. If you follow me on Facebook or you are in Facebook groups, if you've seen my replica Birkin bag, it's Jacqueline's pattern, and in the pattern she talks about bag stiffeners. It's something that I feel like it's a weird thing that a lot of people are not using because it does give really great structure to your bag for a credible cost. I make bags almost every day, and I've had this since October, and I still have enough to do possibly another 5 to 6 bags. It is a great resource to have, and when you have little scraps, you can cut the little triangles out, punch holes in it, and it could be reinforcements for rivets or magnetic snaps too. So I feel like this particular one in Craftex works really well. You can use foam or fleece for a bag bottom, but it will be soft and it most likely won't stand unless there's some kind of sewn in structure in the bag, like the gusset is tapered in or there's darts. The one that everyone talks about, Decovil Heavy. I love Decovil Heavy, but I like it. It's going to sound weird. In certain structure of the bag, I do put it on base of the bag, but I always have to add something. It's going to have to be like foam and this, or fleece and Decovil Heavy. Like it has to be a combination. I never think it's good enough to be on its own. Again, that is my personal preference. It's because Decovil is really squishy, and when I think about a bag bottom, I want it to be firm most of the time. So depending on what bag I make, I put Decovil light. And Decovil heavy. I know a lot of people are going to be like, no, Shinova, it's the Bible. Like, I totally get it. Everybody uses it. But the way I do my bag bottoms is I figure out what I want. If I want a heavy bottom, very structured like the Lola, I'm not using Decovil heavy. I'm going to be using either the foam board, or I'm going to be using, everyone knows it, Pellon, um, Pellon 71F. The reason why I love this is more and more new patterns are coming back out referencing this like Swoon did, because there is a structure to it, and now that people are getting into the mode of putting the bag base heavy stabilizer after the whole construction of the bag, and you just have to close up the lining, this is a perfect substitute. Even in Ora Rosa, the Monica, and a new pattern calls for not Decovil, but Pellon 71F. Yes, it can wrinkle, but if you put it in places that you know you're not birthing afterwards, it's better than Decovil heavy to me. It's more cost efficient and it's easier to obtain. And again, when you have small pieces, don't waste. You can make little squares or circle and have it to be reinforcement for your rivets, magnets, your name tags, what have you. All right. There's a new one I'm trying. This is Kraft Tex. Not like the Kraft Tex that we talked about. That was the part that's confusing. I heard a bag maker talk about Kraft Tex. I'm like, I've used it in wallets. I don't think it's that great as a bag bottom unless I'm making a softer base. Then they explained to me that Basel, other than our foam, has like a whole entire line that is made here in America a whole entire line of interfacing. They have fusible fleece, they have fusible batting, which is interesting, and that will be in the structure of the bag. That's going to be the next episode. Right now, we're just focusing on the base. They have like their version of Shape Flex 101. Yeah, we're going to be talking about that, and I'm going to iron some stuff on the next one so you can see for different back structures. They have a whole entire line that I had no idea about. I did use the Craftex this weekend on a tester bag, and I must say, I love the way it performed. This is super thick. This is thicker than Pellon 71. And let me do something. I'm going to cut a piece of this and get Pellon 71 and put it side by side. You're going to, Pellon 71 has like a fleece fill on the top. Let me see if I can zoom in. So this is Pellon 71. There. And this is Craftex. It is literally double this bit Pellon Craftex. It's extremely structured. I think this might be my new go-to bag structure for the bottom for something that's super heavy. Man, my hair messy bun is just leaning to one side. Just, you know how you put it in there? Normally I have to like really, yeah, you're just gonna have to go with it. Or don't blink. Oh, Dr. Who. So Craftex, and this is Craftex 337F. It's Craftex Plus, and you can get it in double-sided or single-sided. And how I found this out is I was in a group chat for like quilters, and quilters are really into making bowl cozies. At first, I didn't see what the enamel is, but like my husband brings me soup, he always has to bring it in a mitten or whatever. These bowl cozies are genius because you can stick them in the microwave and they're heat resistant. I'm like, I'm about to make some bowl cozies because it'll save my husband's hands and it keeps the bowl nice and warm. And I'm like, how did I get the structure of these bowl cozies? And it like molds and can be manipulated really well. So I'm really intrigued with that as well. Okay, last but definitely not least is, again, this is something that you can get you can get at any leather goods store. This is a, as you can tell, I haven't used it yet, but I have used it before. I just ran out. It is a fiber. It's, I forgot what, I cannot think. It's like fiberglass, and it is super structured. Oh, we're back. See, you blinked, man. That's what happens. Don't you guys watch Who? I'm just saying. The doctor told us. So this is fiberglass, and it's really structured. You can sew through it, but it's very thin, but it gives a great amount of structure. It's usually around 10, 20 bucks too. But this whole roll, I guarantee you, and I make a lot of bags. This whole roll will last me 6 months to a year. It just depending on what I want to put it in. Now, what I want to say is, just because I showed you all these different bag bases does not mean you need to purchase everything. I'm hoping that by you seeing what they are and me actually putting them in bags that are similar, you can make an educated decision on what you want to try and what you want and which is financial feasible. Some people can afford all the interfacing in the world. Some people can't. I have to pick and choose. Every sale I get, my husband can tell you, I just throw it right back into the business. Every single one. And I get excited about interfacing because interfacing to me, we're about to get real, people, are like undergarments. You can have a nice suit on, but if you don't have the right shapewear or the right undergarments, you don't look cute in your suit. So think of interfacing as your undergarments. That's super interprops, but you're watching me, so you know. So that's going to be the cover for that. This first part's going to be called Bag Bottoms. Yeah. There's other things that you can use. I'm going to reference all the books and the chapters that I've seen, and I'm going to put where you can get Everything, the only thing that you won't get a reference to get is the cutting chops, because some people have 99-cent stores. Some people go to grocery stores. I think they have them on Amazon, but Amazon inflates prices, so I don't want to put a link for that. And you're like, oh my god, I'm paying $5 versus $1.
Just to let you know, that cutting flexi board was actually $125.
Sorry, it's at the dollar store. It's
Dollar Tree.
Dollar Tree, yeah. So I will put down everything else, the mesh nets and the books, in case you want to get them or find them at your local library. See, you don't have to pay for everything. Libraries have things, and they have really cool features that now you can use your Kindle or your phone to read it. So if you want to look these books up, and go from there. Or I'm also going to link So Sweetness, her false bag bottom, and I'm going to link, I know Mrs. H has a couple of videos on her channel that explains like the base, the bottom of the board. I feel like a bag bottom can sometimes make or break your bag, kind of like ironing. If you don't iron the cotton, it gets wrinkly and it doesn't look great. And ironing makes it look super professional. So next chapter is going to be covering fusible fleece foam, Decovil light, and so on and so forth for the actual structure of the whole entire bag. And what I will have some muslins to show you to see what you want to get, and you can gauge to see what you want for your project. I hope this video is helpful. If you have any more questions about bag bottoms, like for bases, please leave a message. If you can like, subscribe, and leave a comment, it helps me out tremendously, and I appreciate you guys for watching. So until the next time we speak, I hope you have a fantastic week. Bye.